It's time for martial arts tip number 2. I'm ready if you are. Let's get started. The first tip was great if you were the attacker. You forced your opponent back with a variety of techniques. At some point, he countered, maybe with a fist, and then, pow, you got him right in the shins. Hey, here's a little digression. Do you remember how I avoid drawing hands and fists? That's because I consider it my weak spot. Well, off camera, I practice it a lot. Does that give you any ideas on how to practice your martial arts? Okay, where were we? That's right. It's not such a great tip if you're the defender. Anytime you start to counter, you get kicked in the shins. The reason that you're getting caught with that shin kick is because you're doing something that lets your attacker know that you're about to respond with a move. You're defending against your opponent. The minute that you decide to punch, if you pull that hand back at all, you're giving him a big telegraph of what you're going to do. There are lots of ways that we telegraph our intent to counter. For example, a change of expression, a look of surprise, or even wiggling the ears. We can figure out that your opponent catches you because, well, you gave him a clue that you were going to counterattack. So, how do you fix this problem? Well, the solution is easier said than done. All you have to do is make your counterattacks sudden. Look, imagine that you're facing your opponent. He's attacking you, and at some point you're going to counter. You think it's going to be sudden, but me, well, I'm waiting for telegraphs. For example, the chances are that if you're going to kick, you're going to shift your weight by lowering your heel. To me, that's a telegraph. Besides changes in expression, shifts of weight, or extra little motions, I'm also looking for the pauses. I'm looking for you to stop motion, maybe just for a second. In fact, any stop in motion could warn your opponent of a possible counterattack. Your goal in this tip is to eliminate all motion before you counter. After all, ultimately, you want to make each of your martial arts techniques both sudden and efficient, right? I have something for you to think about. Actually, it's something for you not to think about. To paraphrase Bruce Lee, you don't hit, it hits all by itself. Look, if you think about, you're probably already telegraphing your intent. Your best chance of success is if the kick decides to kick all by itself. I see a question. Is a sudden technique the only way to counterattack? Absolutely not. But it's today's tip, so it's what we're working with. So, I hope you'll pardon my visual pun, but I think at this point it's time for us to, well, recap. Figure out how to counter without getting caught. In this case, caught means shin kicked. Your counter needs to be a surprise. Let your hit or kick start of its own volition. Have you ever read about the principle of no mind? What we're really talking about is eliminating all conscious intent. And I think that's where we're going to quit for today. This martial arts tip was brought to you by KerwinBenson.com. And I'm Keith Pascal. If you're serious about developing speed and eliminating your telegraphs, I recommend the hardback Coin Snatching and the online ebook set, The Punch E-Course. Once again, this is Keith Pascal from KerwinBenson.com.